What's up, you data-hungry Amazon sellers? This is your host, Tommy Berenger of the Sell, Rank, Win podcast from Merchant Words. And in this podcast, we give you the answers to your most burning questions, actionable insights that you can take away and implement into your business today. So let's go ahead and dive right into today's episode. What do you say? Let's go. All right. Welcome, everybody, to the Sell, Rank, Win podcast. I'm your host, Tommy Berenger. And today we have a very special guest on with us. He went from learning how to operate an inventory business at scale, then to becoming a co-founder of Cheetah Technologies, which is a last mile delivery startup that has raised upwards of $50 million in venture capital to date. He then exited Cheetah in 2017 and went on to start a new company called Elevate Brands, where they focus on acquiring, launching, operating e-commerce brands with a focus on the Amazon platform. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to my good friend, James Stein of Elevate Brands. How you doing, James?
Wonderful, Tommy. Thank you so much for having me, brother.
Absolutely. Thank you for taking the time out of your day and coming on with us. I really, really appreciate that.
Yeah, of course. I'm happy to. I hope I can bring some value to your audience.
Yeah, no, you definitely will. Only bring on guests that are going to bring value to my audience. That is it. And I'm very selective.
Now you've set the bar high. So now
so you better come with it. You better come with it.
I'll bring it.
All right. What part of the world are you in today? Because I know you're all over the place sometimes. So
yeah, well, our company's certainly all over the place. I'm in New York. I'm in Manhattan. So
awesome.
We've been waiting out COVID in a 600 square foot Manhattan apartment.
Nice. How you guys been doing through the whole ordeal?
Yeah, okay, dude. It's New York's coming back slowly. You know, it's people were spelling the doom of the city, and it's certainly got its problems, but it seems to have plateaued, and life's slowly starting to return to normal. So yeah,
I think so. The vaccines are coming into play. People are getting more confident. So I think it'll be good. This too shall pass, right?
Yeah, exactly. And look, I mean, we're super lucky, right? Being in the e-commerce industry, people, if you're in the wrong business, you got completely, run over by a bulldozer. If you're in the right business, you did really well over the last year or so. So we're very fortunate.
No, absolutely. I think anything digital is where it's at the moment.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many. COVID has sped up a lot of things, by 10 years now.
Yeah, so it's interesting though, right? Because like obviously the restaurant industry has been decimated, but also like the flip side of that is opportunity, because Manhattan has never had fewer restaurants in its history. So like if you've been able to struggle through, like 30% or 40% of your competitors are out of business. So there's massive opportunity at the tail end of it as well.
And you know what I was thinking is, you bring up a good point there, because if you think about it, all the restaurants or any of those types of businesses that, they weren't really known for their food, but just maybe for like atmosphere, just wanting to go there, they might have declined because people just go there, not for the food. If you're there, if you have a good business that is, there's a dish that people always have to have or something like that, they are, they're the winners that are sticking around.
I completely agree. Listen, look, there's certainly some people that have just, gotten unfortunate, like super unlucky, but like totally agree with you. There's a bakery down the road from me called Bread Bakery, and like they've just been killing it. It's like nothing's changed, and they're amazing anyway.
Because I bet there's a certain pastry that you love getting from there, or a certain type of coffee or something.
To be honest with you, it's just everything. No, it's everything. They're just exceptional. It's like probably one of the best bakeries in the world. So anything you get from there is just like world class. So,
I don't know if they have a Porto's in New York. Have you heard of Porto's?
No.
It's like a Cuban bakery. So they have it out here in LA, and that place is excelled because you go there for their pastries and for their food, and that's like an prime example right there.
I also think we're talking about bakeries. I think it's comfort food as well. That's the kind of stuff you need.
No, absolutely.
Hard times.
Everyone here is wondering like, what the heck is going on with this podcast? I thought this was an Amazon seller focused podcast. These guys are talking about the restaurant business. What's going on here? So anyways, what do you say? Let's dive in, James, and give them what they're here for. What do you think?
Let's do it, man.
All right. So I want to know, how did you decide to get into the business of helping Amazon brands become acquired?
Yeah. So, I mean, our story is a little bit different. We've actually been, we've been trading on Amazon now for 4 years. what happened is I'd left my previous startup, as you mentioned in the bio. I was looking for my next gig, and I found the Amazon world on my own and started a small Amazon business. And what I really liked about Amazon is the data. I mean, as an entrepreneur, to be able to like have all this rich data and be able to place educated bets from the get-go is a hell of a lot. It's really much better than kind of shooting in the dark. So then serendipitously, my co-founder, Ryan, had just finished up with Glencore, where he'd been with 10 years trading commodities, and he'd moved to America, and he'd also started an Amazon business independently of me. We come from the same community back in South Africa, so we were connected through mutual friends. And not only, it was so interesting, not only had we started the same business independently of one another, but we were living a block apart from one another in Manhattan, like literally next door neighbors. And we also like hit it off. It was serendipitous. And so the first opportunity we found on Amazon was actually reselling. We built an 8-figure reselling business in Amazon in like 12 months. Nice. Mostly trading in gray market footwear and apparel. We still have that business today. And then the true story is we actually like met the Thrasio guys a couple of years ago at a conference, and we like the reselling business, but it's kind of limiting because there's no real equity that you're building in the business unless you've got like exclusive relationships with suppliers and stuff. Like you're really just buying for $1, selling for $2. You're never going to really be able to exit the business. And so we were looking to build something much more sustainable and material. And so we loved the idea of acquiring businesses. And so we basically moved into it. And then another serendipitous thing that happened is basically a friend of a friend moved to the States who's a rock star private equity and investment banking guy. He came here because his wife had like an amazing job opportunity. So he was looking for his next gig and was like, well, we know how to operate on Amazon. You know how to do the deals. Like, let's partner up. And that's Jeremy Bell, the head of our M&A. And we bought our first business at the end of 2019. And last year, basically spent the year beefing up the team, raising capital and getting to scale. So here we are.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah. I mean, you guys are what you just told me, 50, 60 employees already?
Yeah.
Something like
60, that? Yeah. There's 60 of us.
Man.
Most of them hired within the last couple of months. Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's a lot of fun. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So when you started selling on Amazon, did you start with or did you get, no, you said you were doing the reselling, but did you touch on the private label at all?
Not before no, that's actually not true. So we did reselling for about 2 years, and we still have that. We still have that business, by the way. We're still operating it. We've got it running on pretty automatic, and we acquired our first brand by the end of 2019, which is a private label business, and that's basically essentially the sole focus of the company, today. And then we grew that, and then in May of last year, we actually launched a beach product, ground up ourselves, which was a tremendous success. And now we have, I think we have 15 brands in our portfolio. We may have 20 by the end of the month. I don't know the number of SKUs that we're managing, but yeah.
Nice.
And that's all private label. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that leads me to my next question, because I mean, when you take on a brand, the only way to really scale a scalable business, the easiest business model for Amazon, from my experience, is the private label model. I mean, it doesn't really make sense. I mean, this might be a stupid question, but does it really make sense to take on like an OA or RA or a wholesaling business? Or do you guys, I mean, like you said, you only focus on private label, but is it maybe I could be wrong?
No, you're right. So firstly, actually, I think that it's actually easier to resell on Amazon because for the most part,
the margins are low.
The margins are low. I mean, it's not as good a business, right? But in terms of that's kind of why we started in reselling, because it was kind of an instant gratification type of thing, right? We actually started in RA, right? And the first month in business, we did, I think, $250,000 in sales profitably, because it was like moving, we took advantage of like Christmas sales at Nike outlet stores and Marshall stores or whatever. It was during Christmas, so the volumes were crazy. And it was as simple as kind of, just linking the product to the listing on Amazon and shipping it in. You didn't have to deal with product photos, branding, copy, SEO optimization, all of that stuff's taken care of you with reselling. Now, from a business perspective, it's a worse business because it's highly commoditized. Everyone can go into a Marshalls or a Nike outlet and sell what you're selling. I'm sorry, what was the exact question?
No, it was just basically regarding the private label model. And it doesn't seem like you guys were
acquiring. We wouldn't acquire unless it was a very unique. We were actually offered a reselling business to acquire actually a couple of weeks ago, and we passed on it. It's just really difficult. You're just not really the master of your own destiny. Even if you've got exclusive relationships with great brands or whomever it is, if there's
there's nothing proprietary,
there's nothing proprietary. Yeah. And if there's a change of management at one of those companies, they go, we want to bring it in-house. Well, there's half of your business gone or whatever. Or Amazon says, you know what, we've signed an exclusive relationship with Adidas. You can no longer sell Adidas sneakers.
Right.
But we love the reselling business, man. And it's a fantastic, it's how we cut our teeth. Like the awesome thing about it is that where it did get complicated is we ended up literally having 8,000 SKUs, right, in our reselling business. So it really taught us how to operate a business at scale and deal with the complexities of reverse logistics and 3PL management and repricing and all that sort of stuff. So it's a fantastic way to learn, for sure.
Let me ask you something. So speaking of OA and RA, and for people who don't know those terms, RA is retail arbitrage and OA is online arbitrage, where you buy something low and resell it high in a different marketplace, in the States. So, or anywhere else, I should say, sorry. You said you had 8,000 SKUs. So, you must have been hiring people to go out, tons of people to go out to buy these at Walmart, Target, or wherever it is, right?
I'll tell you the story. That's the only way to
scale this.
I'll tell you the story. So what happened is we were introduced to Retail Arb. My previous business, Cheetah Technologies, is a business that basically was exclusive. It had exclusivity with a company called Restaurant Depot, which is think of it like a Costco for restaurants. We were just talking about restaurants. Mm-hmm. It's a food service distributor. So it's like independent restaurants go there and shop around like they would with Costco. They're buying like 80-pound boxes of meat, 70-pound bags of potatoes for their restaurant, right? And so that business was, have you heard of Instacart? You know Instacart, the grocery delivery service? It's essentially exactly. There you go, right? So it's the Instacart of wholesale, right? That was the business that we built. So when we were introduced to the retail arbitrage thing, like when I walked into a Nike outlet store in Newark, New Jersey, and I could scan product barcodes, I was like, hold on a second. I could buy this for $30 here. It's selling for $90 on Amazon. There's like 300 Nike outlet stores in the country. There's 1,000 Marshalls in the country. I've just spent, the last 2 years building out this very complicated pick, pack, and delivery operation, essentially outside of a retail environment. You can scale this. So that was the original. Mm-hmm. That was the original hypothesis. So we went and we raised some capital to scale it. We bought 3 2008 Toyota Sienna minivans. We ripped out the seats. We hired a bunch of people, trained them how to interpret the data, and for 6 months, they were basically on the streets. And then what happened is we slowly started getting introduced to basically what they call gray market wholesalers, right? Guys who have wholesale accounts with a Nike or an Adidas or whatever, and to make a bit of extra bucks, they divert product to us. So it's completely legal in the States, nothing untoward or anything, but it was just much easier buying wholesale. Like, we could sit down in the morning and place a $200,000 PO, and it would take, 6 people on the street with all this sort of complicated logistics to go and do it in the retail. So that's how we operate our retail business today. We buy wholesale from these guys who we have relationships with.
I love hearing these stories. That's amazing. Very cool. Very cool. So,
I hope it's entertaining. Trust me, it was a lot of hard work.
No, for sure. For sure. But anyway,
don't let anyone tell you a Toyota Sienna minivan is not a cool car. Okay, we have 3 of them. They're amazing, especially ones from 2008.
There you go. But yeah, no, my recommendation, it looks like James, you guys are still doing it on the RA and OA stuff, but I recommend private label. That's like the best way, biggest margins, like we spoke about earlier. That's just my recommendation, and I think James's as well, probably.
No, of course. That's why we would love your audience and entrepreneurs to go and make as many successful private label businesses as possible. So please God, we can buy them one day.
That's right.
Yeah.
So leading to my next question here. So there's this new term coming into play, and I'm sure you probably heard of it. The Amazon aggregators is what probably people think Elevate Brands is, and such as a Thrasio or a Perch. So I just wanted to see, how are you different than from these other Amazon aggregators such as Perch and Thrasio?
Sure. So the first thing is that there are like probably, I don't know, 30 to 50 companies that have come into the space, and the vast majority of them, I mean, the reason they've come in is because there is such a tremendous opportunity, right, to consolidate these businesses and operate at scale and get kind of all the advantages you get from being at scale, right? So that's what's attracted all the interest. I can't say we're unique well, we are unique. I'll get there in a minute. But like in one facet, we're definitely unique to probably about 90% of the guys that have come into the market, in the sense that we're one of the very few who have actually got multiple year track record of actually operating on Amazon and have the specific knowledge. That's the tough thing with entrepreneurship. From the outside, it always looks like, oh, it's not that difficult, right? But like, it's the devil's in the detail. And if you have the specific knowledge of a particular platform or particular business model, you're off to a tremendous advantage. Now, the rest of our competitors are very smart guys and they will learn quickly, right? But we definitely, when a seller is selling to us, and a lot of the times there's a big earnout component, right, that is tied to our ability to grow the business after we acquire it. So we give the seller a piece of the upside, right? And their ability to recognize that piece of the upside is entirely predicated on how competent we are as operators, right? So when you've got a buyer coming to you and saying, no, you should sell your business to us. We're paying you the same price as, let's say, Elevators. Like, how do you know that company actually has any track record to actually be able to grow the business? They've never really operated an Amazon business. So that's the one thing. The other thing is that, like, and this speaks more to sort of the softer things of business, which I think make all the difference. Culture. Peter Drucker said, "Culture eats strategy for breakfast." And what we do is we acquire Amazon businesses, right? Now, but why we do it is essentially communicated in our name. And I would totally go up against any of our competitors to say that we've got the best culture out there and likely the best people out there. Elevate. There's a saying I like to say, that if you're not growing, you're dying, and if you're growing alone, you're not living, right? So the thing that permeates our whole company is basically a saying from Ray Dalio, which is meaningful work and meaningful relationships. We're looking to play long-term games with good people. And once price is kind of off the equation, as it relates to like a bidding process or whatever, and like people are trying to decide who they want to work with, I really do think that they'll have a hell of a lot more fun and be in a lot safer hands working with us. So that was a very long answer, but I hope.
No, yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that. No, that's yeah. I mean, I don't know if this is true or not, but I've heard that like Thrasio, they'll just pick you up and then spit you out for the lowest possible multiple. So it sounds like what you guys do is you curate it, make sure it's right, and then trying to help the brands to exit at a higher multiple, at the highest multiple possible, I should say.
Look, I can't speak to Thrasio. Like, the market.
No, this is just something I've heard. So it's not. I haven't done.
Hey man, preach. That's fine. No problem. But
maybe they could come on and do a rebuttal. I don't know.
You know what it is, dude. It's like it's just fairness and transparency. The market. If you're going to go and sell your business, right? There's multiple ways you can go to market with it. But like, let's say you go out and you just bid it out to all the aggregators out there. Invariably, you'll see the market will determine what it's happy to pay for your business, right? So like, if I was giving my honest advice to a person selling their business, well, it would depend on what they want personally, right? Like, are you trying to maximize how much money you get, or are you trying to build a relationship with a sophisticated operator so that you can sell your next business to them, or you want to work with them for a few years because you're not, that's personal. But if you're trying to just maximize price, you'll take it out to bid. You'll get 3 or 4 guys that'll be basically in the same range. So now price is out the window. Now you have to make a decision on who to choose to work with. And the cool thing is, as you go through these processes, like we'll meet with sellers, we'll have our whole team on the call or whatever, and they get to know us, and hopefully they can get the sense that these are the kind of guys that, I trust more and I want to work with more.
Yeah, definitely. Totally agree. You know your stuff, James. That's awesome. That's why I have you on here. So going to some of the audience here, I want you to answer this. So say that I have a private label business. Maybe it's, I'm making, six figures annually, 7 figures annually. Could I come to Elevate Brands? Can I come to you guys to help me scale my brand and my business to reach, to get to that higher multiple for exit? Can you guys help me do that?
Short answer is yeah. Short answer is absolutely yes.
And how would you do that for me?
So first, going back to long-term games with good people. That's the other thing. Human nature is there's an opportunity and people rush in, potentially looking for a quick buck, a get quick rich scheme with this new model. Right. We're here. We're in this for the long term. Like the other thing you were talking about with aggregators, right? Like for the most part, it sounds like we're all the same, but invariably what's going to happen is we're all going to acquire different businesses in different categories, and we'll end up kind of specializing in verticals over time, right? And so like we are like, even like a 6-figure business is not something that we want to acquire now. It just takes too much time and resources to acquire a business that size versus a bigger business. But that seller who comes to us, we want to talk to everyone who have the potential to be or who are already great operators, right? Because like we just acquired a business from a couple that's literally bought and sold 4 or 5 FBA businesses, right?
Amazing.
And so like if we can work with the seller and get into the weeds of their business, right? We can, and you asked me how you tell them to grow it. It depends on the business, right? Like I can't give you a blanket answer. I can give you blanket sort of best practices of what to focus on. But like I'd have to get into the weeds of the business, and like some businesses just aren't scalable. Some businesses are like you've found a niche that's just a small market for a particular item, and like you dominate that niche. So like it's just not gonna get bigger. But like especially if a seller isn't a business that you can grow, it would be awesome because we can help them put all the best practice into place in terms of accounting and inventory or whatever. Tell them exactly what they need to grow their business. Tell them how much meat we'd like to have on the bone so that when we acquire it, we can continue to grow it. And like we can work together in partnerships so that when it does come time in a year to transact, it's like a 1-week process because we've already done our due diligence basically. So, yeah.
So I know you can't really give like a blanket answer. I just wanted to see also about like if someone comes to you with their FBA private label business, what are there some first aspects of the business that you look at to help scale or kind of clean up, or what are the first, like what are the first things you guys do when someone comes to you with that, with the business that they want to sell?
Yeah. So high level stuff is golden rule: never run out of stock. Like, I mean, I know, there's not much more. There's not much. Look, like most things in life, easy but not simple. Like you want to lose weight, move more, eat less. Easy, not simple for a lot of people. I mean, simple but not easy for a lot of people, right? Want to maximize your FBA business? Don't run out of stock, right?
Don't run out of stock.
So that's the number one thing. And what we see is that we've just acquired a business now where these guys have done a tremendous job, but they've opened up literally like 5 different Amazon marketplaces, right? And it's very difficult to manage inventory because then you're essentially managing inventory in 5. Literally, it's like running 5 different businesses, right? So I think anyway, it's just an example of staying in stock. Why it's complicated. So like build in buffers, if you think your product could potentially get stuck at the port coming into the country for 2 weeks, build in a 4-week buffer, right? Go, and again, this is advice in terms of growing your business, not necessarily running the most efficient business, which is a different conversation. So like if the advice to me is like, go deep in inventory, be heavy on inventory, and then you can pull all sorts of amazing marketing levers to really give yourself a chance to grow. Because if you don't have the stock, doesn't matter what brilliant creative you have, what brilliant PPC you have, what brilliant social you have, you ain't selling shit. Excuse me, I don't know if I can swear on this podcast.
No, you're good. Sorry. You're good. Don't worry about it. But I mean, this happened in my business. I unfortunately it was killing me. I ran out of stock because I don't know if you remember this. They still have the limitations on it, but there was a limited stock you can send in.
I remember it well.
To certain items. Yes.
Yeah.
And it's still on, at least in my account for some of my products. I'm not able to send in a certain amount of units. So when I got hit with that, I was like, oh, come on. So, and I couldn't even, I had my product sitting at my 3PL. And it was just a nightmare because I'm sitting there, I'm out of stock for like whatever it is, a couple of weeks which is an eternity.
And at the same time, every American now is buying online because all brick and mortars closed down. So you could be just killing it. And we had to do the same thing. Thank God we flipped it. We had to flip our entire business over to FBM like overnight when that happened.
Yeah.
So that was a lot of fun.
Definitely. But do not overlook that tip, as simple as it is. Do not run out of stock. Your rank gets killed. When you come back in, sometimes Amazon will put you back in the same place, but it's just not the same. It doesn't feel like it's the same. So you want to keep that inventory level in there. They do take that into the algorithm in the back end. I know that. And I know that there's this the new A10 algorithm they're calling from their A9, their search algorithm. But there's a couple other things. We could do a whole podcast on that. I don't know. I don't want to get too much on that.
And then the other thing is, like, people might be listening to this and go, oh, cool. Like, easy for you guys to say you've raised all this money, so it's easy for you to stay in stock. You can just, you've just got the capital to put into inventory. And that actually is probably just an excellent blanket piece of advice. Is like, your success becomes your problem as you start growing, right? Because you start selling like crazy and it's like, oh my God, I now have to take all of my profit and just put it back into inventory. So finding yourself a scalable, safe working capital solution to finance your working capital upfront is like also critical, right? Like
0% APR credit card. Hey, that is a trick. If you need some money, you need some cash flow, you to help you scale. That's a tip I'm going to give right now. Get a 0% APR card. 12 months, 18 months, you don't have to pay it back. But there's other things like Kabbage and things like that.
There's plenty of solutions out there. The other interesting thing is like that I honestly don't think it's talked about enough is that, like, really there is so much capital out there. There really is, like, there's big income inequality in the country and whatever. You won't have a political conversation, but like, there's so much money controlled by so few people, and all of these people need a place to put their money. Like, it's just sitting in bank accounts, not doing anything. And there are options out there. You just have to go out and look for them and do the work. So
absolutely, there's no excuses. Don't make any excuses. Make it happen. No excuses.
Preach, right, bro.
Preach. That's what we're here for. James, so you alluded to something earlier that I wanted to talk about. Is you said, not all Amazon FBA businesses, or not all Amazon businesses are scalable. Give me an example of a business that you like, if someone comes to you and it's just not scalable at all, you're like, sorry, can't do it. Give me an example of a business like that is not scalable.
Sure. Have you ever heard of a Vice Jaw?
A Vice Jaw?
Yeah.
No.
Okay, so it's a business we bought. A Vice Jaw is a pad, basically, for lack of a better word, that fits onto the teeth of a vice in like if you're into DIY and stuff, it's that thing that you crank and it holds an object in place that you're like working on in a hardware store in your tool shed or whatever.
Yes.
So this thing is it's got magnets on it that you put onto either side of the vise so that it doesn't damage the tool that you're working on.
Got it.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool. You'd never heard of it. I'd never heard of it. We bought this business. We've doubled or tripled it, right? But
nice.
Like, there's a ceiling on how many people are looking for Vice Jaws.
That's
It's
right.
just not that many, right? So, like, and this is why I say to you, like, people talk about us aggregate, like, you think of aggregators, you think these are all the same people. It's like, no, like, you guys don't understand. Like, it's just the beginning where you've got this opportunity of all these small businesses that are looking to exit. But like, there's going to be businesses we buy that like don't scale. We're just looking for kind of base hits of like doubling or tripling them. And then there's businesses that we're buying where we're like, holy cow, like this can be $100 million business in and of itself, right? And we've got to get our own social channels going. We got to get our own website's going. We're going to be on every marketplace. We're going to take it internationally. So that's just it. But like,
that's awesome. That's awesome.
And it's not better or worse, by the way. Like, if you can dominate a niche, like, that's awesome, man. Like, no one, I promise you, no one can beat us in the vast jewel market on Amazon. I can guarantee you. We've got the number one shelf space. We've maximized the product and what it can do. If someone's listening to this going, I'm going to try to take you guys on.
Yeah, I bet.
But yeah. Anyway.
But I mean, if you know what you're doing, I mean, that's amazing. I mean, was this Vice jaw something that was scalable to like $100 million business?
No. This was an example of a business that is
something
not
was not being. Okay, just making sure on that, because we touched on a little bit both there. Okay, so all right, another question I had here. Let me see. Okay, do you guys use the Amazon Brand Analytics to help within your process for growing the brand, scaling it, and then possibly, if people coming in to do due diligence, do you guys use Amazon Brand Analytics?
Of course.
In any capacity?
Of course. I mean, largely around a lot of it is used for research and keyword optimization. So, like, if we're one example is if we're trying to understand the quality of a business, you can type, you'll type in the ASIN into Brand Analytics, and you could see what percentage of the click-through and conversion an item gets for that particular for the top performing keywords, right?
Right.
So if we're buying something like the Vice is actually a great example, right? Like, if you type that ASIN into Brand Analytics, you'll see that we're getting something like 50% of the clicks of anyone using that search term. And so it's just indicative that this is a very good moat. You hear the aggregators talk about buying a review moat. So it's like a good data point to show that
build a moat around your business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a whole bunch of other tools that we use there as well. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And then we're at already a half hour. I like to keep my podcast short and sweet, but James, we've been I think just talking, having a good time, and giving some people some great value. But we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up.
Sure.
And we like to have our guest give our listeners one or two, however many tips or tricks that you can give to them to implement into their business today, or just into their life in general. What do you got for them, James? A successful guy like yourself, what can you say to all of the listeners out there?
Oh man, I don't know if you're going to like my answer to this. Like, and I really just internalized this recently. Like, there's amazing advice out there, right? Like, amazing self-help books, business books, Amazon books, whatever. It's awesome. Read them. You'll learn a lot. But the number one thing I think I've learned, honestly, dude, is like, you got to just jump into the game and figure it out yourself. Like,
yes.
Like, it's like, we're all different. We really are. We've all got our own baggage, our own shit, our own lives, our own whatever. And there are fundamental things that, like, exercise is a good meta thing. Like, everyone should exercise, right? Like, so that's good. But like, me telling people to go exercise isn't going to make them go and build a $100 million Amazon business, right? Like, those kinds of things. It's like, take all the advice you can get, but like, you got to wear it yourself, right? You got to mold it with who you are. And like, I don't think that that's spoken enough about that. Like, in success and stuff, life is messy and confusing and chaotic at times, and like, that's part of the fun, and that's how we all figure our shit out. So yeah, that's my vibe.
1000%, James. I mean, I totally agree with that. That's kind of my style as well. Jump into it, make some mistakes, learn from your mistakes. Just make sure that you're learning from your mistakes, and then just continue to iterate yourself, iterate your product, your business, whatever it is, for the better for your customers. But yeah, great piece of advice, James. Thank you so much. So if people wanted to reach out to you, where can they find you? Do you have any socials
totally.
that you can give out there, or email or anything like that? What do you got?
Yeah, so we're most active on LinkedIn. So just, search for Elevate Brands. Our previous name, we did a name change, was called formerly Recon Brands, if guys don't recognize us. So LinkedIn is an awesome place to find us. ElevateBrands.io, our website. Anyone can email me, james@elevatebrands.io. And yeah, if there's any sellers out there just want to have a chat or interested in selling, whatever it is, please reach out directly. I'd love to talk to you.
Very cool. James, I want to again thank you for coming on and taking the time out of your very busy day. I know you're a super busy guy, so I just want to say thank you so much for coming on with us here at the Sell Rank Win podcast. Appreciate you. And I think we need to do another podcast again. We have a lot to talk about.
Dude, I love that. I honestly had so much fun. Seriously, Tommy. Thank you, bro. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. All right, James, I'll talk to you soon, buddy. Thank you.
Peace. Bye.
All right. All right. Thank you guys so much for listening. And if you got any value out of this podcast at all, please let us know at the place that you listen to it at, whether it be iTunes, Stitcher, whatever it is. Give us some love, give us an awesome review, and let us know maybe some things you want us to talk about on the next podcast. Until next time, guys, stay awesome and be awesome.